In this clip, Richard Dawkins is laying out what he considers to be his best argument. Now, let's see if it holds water.
Do you think there could be one sentence that could convince, let's say, a creationist to seriously doubt their theory? Ideally, if you could convince a believer in God to really doubt their belief, but that's too hard.
Not sure about a sentence. I think perhaps the single most convincing fact, the observation that you could point to would be the pattern of resemblances that you see when you compare the genes using modern DNA techniques, actually looking at the letter-to-letter correspondences between genes. Compare the genes of any pair of animals you like, pair of animals, pair of plants, and then plot out the resemblances, and they fall in a perfect hierarchy, a perfect family tree. And the only alternative to it being a family tree is that the intelligent designer deliberately set out to deceive us in the most underhand and devious manner. Moreover, the same thing works with every gene you do separately, and even pseudogenes that don't do anything but are vestigial relics of genes that once did something. I find it extremely hard to imagine how any creationist who actually bothered to listen to that could possibly doubt the fact of evolution, but they don't listen. I mean, your question is a perfectly good question, but it's not really relevant, because what they do is simply stick their fingers in their ear and say la la la.
No, we don't stick our fingers in our ear and say la la la. We simply respond by saying that was pretty underwhelming, because Darwin's theory is a theory of transformation, not a theory of similarities. Similarities were known before Darwin, so that was an epic fail. Secondly, you mentioned the tree of life. The tree of life is perfectly compatible with the idea of intelligent design. How do we know if the tree of life is true? That's a separate matter. Thirdly, when it comes to Darwinian evolution, random mutations plus natural selection, we have major problems when it comes to phenotypic complexity, novelty, and the non-gradual forms of transition. So that's what we should be discussing, not similarity. So that underwhelming argument that you made simply doesn't hold water.